Six handwritten letters from the late Princess Diana of Wales to Buckingham Palace steward Cyril Dickman.
The letters that we are offering show a very personal insight.
The end of an era often comes quietly, without warning. For Queen Elizabeth II, it happened within the walls of Balmoral Castle. Far from the eyes of the world, she had served for over 7 decades. But here's what's shaking up Buckingham Palace. Her final letter to Camila. Those last words weren't just goodbyes. They carried a weight that only a few would ever understand. And now, they've left even those closest to her stunned. So what did she say in those final moments? And why has it sent ripples through the monarchy? Stay with us as we dive into the royal mystery that refuses to stay buried. The final days of Queen Elizabeth II. There is no doubt that Queen Elizabeth II was the backbone of the British monarchy. For over 70 years, she stood as a symbol of strength, grace, and unshakable leadership. But as we approached 2022, something changed. The woman who had survived world wars, family scandals, and political upheaval was suddenly missing from key royal events. And when she was asked why, she claimed that it was because of a simple back sprain. But behind the scenes, something much more serious was happening, and no one was saying a word. So, stick around till the end of this video to get the full gist. Now, for decades, the Queen kept her personal life private, especially when it came to her health. But in early 2022, the cracks began to show. She started canceling public engagements, one after the other. And then came the announcement that she had tested positive for COVID-19. That was the moment many started asking, was this the beginning of the end? Could even Queen Elizabeth, the monarch who seemed almost immortal, be losing her lifelong battle with time? Some insiders say her energy never fully bounced back after that illness. Her appearances became fewer, her steps slower, her smile more tired. Still, she never openly acknowledged her condition. The palace kept the usual tight-lipped stance, but royal watchers weren't fooled. The Queen was fading, and the world could feel it. But no one knew just how fast it would all come to a close. And then, the Platinum Jubilee came in June 2022. The Queen stepped out to greet the world. And as usual, the cameras zoomed in, the crowd cheered, and for a brief moment, it felt like nothing had changed. But the truth was right there, in her posture, her limited movements, the way she leaned ever so slightly on that cane. The message was clear. She was still here, still holding on, but barely. So just like that, the whispers inside Buckingham Palace grew louder. Something was wrong. Reports trickled out. Royal aides were worried. She was skipping meetings, needing more rest, pulling back even more. But then came a final photo op that few realized would be historic. In early September, she met with the new Prime Minister, Liz Truss, at Balmoral. It was quiet, formal. Her hands looked bruised. She seemed frail. But she smiled anyway. Because that's what the Queen did, always. That meeting would be her last. Just days later, the palace released a rare statement. Doctors were concerned for the Queen's health. Family members began rushing to her side. The atmosphere in the UK shifted instantly. Something serious was happening, you could feel it. News anchors wore black. The nation held its breath. And then, it came. Confirmation that Queen Elizabeth II had passed away. No long farewell. No drawn-out final days in the public eye.
A few moments ago, Buckingham Palace announced the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. The palace has just issued this statement.
Just silence. And then the end of an era. But while members of the royal family were in agony over her sudden departure, without anyone knowing her plans, it was later discovered that she had actually given Princess Camila a message before she left. But before we go to that, let's take a step back to some weeks before her death. So in the weeks before her death, her public appearances dwindled. But when she did make an appearance, her composure never faltered. During her final public engagements, she was seen smiling through the pain, offering reassurance to those around her. Even the smallest of gestures, such as her wave or a kind word, seemed to carry a sense of grace that only someone like her could manage. This leaves us with the question of how she managed to hold on to her composure in such a fragile state. Queen Elizabeth's strength wasn't just physical, it was emotional and mental. She knew the importance of her role and carried the weight of it with grace until the very end. The Queen's ability to put others before herself, even as she faced her own mortality, was a testament to her character. She did not want to burden anyone with her suffering. Instead, she continued to serve her country, even in her final days. Behind the scenes, it's likely that her family felt a mixture of admiration and sorrow. They must have witnessed firsthand the incredible fortitude with which she faced her decline. But how could they prepare for this inevitable loss, knowing that her sense of duty could never be replicated? And as the days went by, her legacy grew stronger. Queen Elizabeth II's final days were a testament to the qualities that made her such an iconic figure in history. What does this tell us about the strength of human spirit, especially when one knows their time is near? In the end, Queen Elizabeth proved to the world that even as the world changes, some things, like duty, love, and grace, remain timeless. But as the world came to terms with the loss of a monarch, a deeper silence lingered, one not just of mourning, but of unanswered questions. What truly happened in those final hours behind the thick stone walls of Balmoral? We saw the images, the formal statements, the nation in grief. But one moment, one private exchange, continues to stir curiosity across the globe. Because while the Queen left this world with her trademark grace, she also left behind a final act, a letter with Camila. So stay with us as we reveal the mysteries surrounding that letter and how it affected the royal family. The mystery surrounding the letter. When Queen Elizabeth passed away, most of what happened in her final hours stayed private. The royal family, as always, kept things quiet. But one detail found its way into the public: the letter that the Queen wrote on the day she died. It wasn't announced in any official statement, and it wasn't meant for the world to know, but it happened. People got to know about the letter. So, in February 2022, as part of her Platinum Jubilee message, the Queen made a significant public gesture. In a statement that would go down in history, she expressed her sincere wish for Camilla to be known as Queen Consort when Prince Charles ascended the throne. This message was delivered with the grace and formality that marked the Queen's reign, and was also seen as a gesture of acceptance and endorsement. It was a powerful acknowledgement of Camilla's place within the royal family, one that would have a lasting impact on the future of the monarchy. Many were surprised by the Queen's statement. Because Camilla had faced years of public scrutiny and controversy, especially during her early relationship with Charles, this declaration was seen as a moment of reconciliation. It was as if Queen Elizabeth was offering her blessing, making it clear that she had accepted Camilla, and by extension, her role in the royal family. This message, though public, seemed to suggest that Elizabeth's thoughts on Camilla had evolved over time, possibly with a sense of understanding or even warmth. So, in the wake of the Queen's passing, speculation grew about whether there was more to the story, especially when it came to the Queen's private correspondence. Some wondered if there was a personal letter left behind for Camilla, one that might provide additional insight into the Queen's thoughts on her. And they were right. There was a letter, but the letter was kept under wraps until after her passing, revealing a much more personal side of Queen Elizabeth. So when she passed, the letter was revealed. In it, the Queen expressed her deep trust in Camilla and her belief that she would be a strong and supportive Queen consort. It was a note of reassurance, not just for Camilla, but for the monarchy itself, as it faced the inevitable changes brought about by Elizabeth's death. While the contents of the letter were never fully disclosed to the public, those close to the royal family have hinted that it was filled with encouragement and support for Camilla's future role. The Queen's words were said to be reassuring, recognizing Camilla's strength and the important role she would play in the next chapter of the monarchy. But the fact that this letter existed, and was likely written with such care, reveals the depth of the Queen's final wishes. It wasn't just a simple endorsement for Camilla's title, it was a heartfelt message from one monarch to another, a passing of the torch in a deeply personal way. Queen Elizabeth's acknowledgement of Camilla shows her understanding of the challenges and pressures that lay ahead for the monarchy. Because in a world of tradition, where change is often met with resistance, the Queen's letter provided a moment of clarity and affirmation. And as we reflect on this private message, the letter remains one of the most poignant elements of the Queen's final wishes. Though we may never know the full extent of her personal thoughts, this letter serves as a reminder of the Queen's unwavering commitment to the future of the monarchy and her deep, if complex, relationship with Camilla. So when we think of it, Queen Elizabeth's final letter was not just a document of words. It was a powerful symbol of acceptance of the royal family's evolution and of a monarch passing on her wisdom to the future. And as Camilla now steps into her role as Queen consort, the letter will forever stand as a testament to the Queen's lasting impact on the royal family, her legacy, and her relationship with the woman who would be her son's partner in this new era of the British monarchy. But that was just the beginning of a much larger story unfolding within the monarchy. Stay tuned. Prince Louis's role in securing the monarchy's future. Following the quiet unveiling of Queen Elizabeth's personal letter to Camilla, the royal family seemed to shift into a new phase, one focused not only on honoring the past, but on safeguarding the monarchy's future. Just months after that deeply personal gesture, the world witnessed something unexpected. A bold move from King Charles III that many saw as both symbolic and strategic. At just 5 years old, Prince Louis, the youngest child of Prince William and Princess Catherine, was suddenly at the center of royal attention. Reports began circulating that King Charles had bestowed a significant royal title on his youngest grandson, a move that took many by surprise. But behind the crown's formal gestures, there appeared to be a clear message. The monarchy was thinking long-term. Now, this move by King Charles is very important because we are in a time when public support for the royal family faces ongoing challenges. Meanwhile, Prince Louis has emerged as a new kind of royal figure, charming the public with his playful antics during balcony appearances and unfiltered expressions, making him one of the most recognizable young royals today. So while Prince George is being prepared for kingship and Princess Charlotte has taken on her historic role, Louis's path remains more flexible, yet no less important. However, some royal watchers see King Charles's decision as a calculated move to secure loyalty from a younger generation. And they may be right, because in a world where authenticity is currency, Louis's relatable image might be exactly what the monarchy needs to stay relevant. By positioning him early, the palace is planting the seeds of a modern monarchy, one that blends heritage with humanity. Still, questions hang in the air. Is this newfound attention too much pressure for someone so young? Will Louis embrace this role, or will he, like other royals before him, seek a life beyond the palace gates? But I guess we have to find out as time goes by. King Charles's move to place Prince Louis in the spotlight is part of a larger royal strategy aimed at navigating the future of the monarchy. This bold approach doesn't stop with Louis, though. The king has also taken a surprising step in granting significant titles to his estranged son, Prince Harry, alongside Louis. The decision to elevate both figures simultaneously raises questions about the monarchy's direction and King Charles's broader vision. By including both Prince Louis and Prince Harry in this new title-sharing move, Charles seems focused on balancing the monarchy's traditional values with modern dynamics. While Louis represents the next generation, Harry's inclusion signals a complicated but significant gesture to keep family ties intact despite their recent challenges. Is this an attempt at reconciliation, or a strategic move to maintain unity within the family? Well, it looks like an act of unity. So that makes it clear that King Charles's actions are setting the stage for a redefined monarchy, one that is responsive to the pressures of a rapidly changing world. The implications of these decisions will unfold over time, but they signal a clear message. The monarchy is adapting, with both the past and the future in mind. And this is where it gets controversial. While many found King Charles's decision to grant his youngest grandson, Prince Louis, a royal title to be a positive move for securing the monarchy's future, his decision to do the same for Prince Harry raised eyebrows. Given Prince Harry's ongoing distance from royal duties and his outspoken criticism of the family, this move sparked widespread speculation about the king's true intentions. So this leaves us wondering whether this was an attempt by a father to mend a fractured relationship, or a calculated move to ensure that Harry remains connected to the crown, even as he distances himself from its core. Public opinion on Harry's inclusion is sharply divided. Some see it as a bold, modern step toward healing and showing that the monarchy can evolve. Others believe it undermines the monarchy's integrity, questioning whether someone who has been openly critical of the institution deserves such an honor. Could this be the first step toward reconciliation, or will it deepen the divide between Harry and the rest of the royal family? A clash between tradition and modernization. After all the noise around Prince Harry's surprising return to royal headlines, it's clear that something bigger is happening behind the scenes. The royal family isn't just making emotional decisions, they're trying to reshape the monarchy itself. The bigger picture shows a deep struggle. Because how do you hold on to centuries-old traditions while staying relevant in today's world? You see, the British monarchy has always stood as a symbol of tradition, but times are changing, and fast. With new generations asking tougher questions and public interest shifting, the royal family now faces a big challenge. Do they stick to the old ways, or do they start rewriting the rules? Lately, their actions suggest they're trying to do a little bit of both. One of the clearest signs of this shift is Princess Anne's decision to pass on her title, Princess Royal, to her grandniece, Princess Charlotte. This has never been done before. The title is normally held for life and is reserved for the eldest daughter of the monarch. Princess Anne has held it with pride and hard work for decades, so giving it to a 9-year-old is a huge move. Some see it as a beautiful symbol of passing the torch, while others think it's risky. Still, it shows the royal family is thinking ahead and wants to give younger royals meaningful roles early on. And let's not forget about King Charles III, who, as mentioned earlier, made headlines of his own by awarding titles to Prince Louis and Prince Harry. While Louis's new role was largely seen as a smart move to connect the monarchy with younger audiences, Harry's inclusion stirred far more debate. Given his strained relationship with the family and his explosive tell-all memoir, many were surprised to see him brought back into the fold in such a public way. Was it a step toward peace, or a political calculation to keep him tied to the institution? This new movement towards modernization hasn't gone unnoticed or unchallenged. Meanwhile, royal watchers are divided. Some applaud the effort to stay relevant in a fast-changing world. Others feel the monarchy is drifting too far from its roots, making changes that could backfire in the long run. Still, it's clear that the royal family is trying to navigate a new era, carefully but deliberately. With younger generations less interested in pomp and more focused on authenticity, the crown is being forced to adapt. The question is, will these bold steps secure the monarchy's future, or will they stir up more uncertainty? One thing is certain: the balancing act between the old and the new is no easy task. And as the palace continues to evolve, every decision is being watched, not just for what it means today, but for what it could mean tomorrow. Now, as the royal family makes bold moves to modernize, the public's response has been anything but unified. Some view these decisions as a breath of fresh air, others as troubling signs of instability beneath the crown. For instance, for many royal watchers, the idea of Prince Louis, just 5 years old, receiving a major title feels both charming and cleverly timed. His unfiltered expressions and cheeky personality have already captured public affection. To supporters, giving Louis a title isn't just symbolic, it's a smart strategy. In a time when the monarchy must stay relevant, positioning a child who naturally connects with the younger generation could be a powerful move for the future. Princess Charlotte's elevation to Princess Royal has also been widely praised. It's seen as a progressive step that embraces gender equality and reimagines royal traditions. Princess Anne's decision to hand over her title, despite her strong reputation and decades of service, was unexpected but deeply meaningful. In doing so, she honored the past while clearing a path for the next generation of royal women to lead. But while some changes were met with applause, others stirred controversy, especially Prince Harry's inclusion in King Charles's title reshuffle. Opinions remain sharply divided. To some, it's a touching gesture from a father attempting to heal old wounds. To others, it's a confusing move that weakens the monarchy's message. After stepping away from royal duties and publicly criticizing the family in his tell-all memoir, Harry remains a polarizing figure. Granting him a title now seems, to critics, like a contradiction that could undermine the institution's credibility. Now this takes us to one of the most interesting controversies surrounding the letter. While the royal family presented a piece of Queen Elizabeth II's personal letter to Camilla, claiming that the late monarch had expressed her love and support for Camilla to become queen consort, we might want to take a step back and question the authenticity of these claims. Historically, Queen Elizabeth was never fond of Camilla, especially during the early years of her relationship with Prince Charles. In fact, it's widely known that Queen Elizabeth preferred Princess Diana, who she saw as a more fitting figure for the monarchy. The idea that she would express such unequivocal support for Camilla in the final years of her life seems somewhat contradictory to the history of their relationship. There are even rumors that King Charles pressured the Queen to accept Camilla's role as queen consort, a move that some believe came not from genuine affection, but out of a sense of obligation to maintain the stability of the monarchy. So, this leaves us questioning the true motivations behind the letter. Was it truly the Queen's heartfelt wish? Or was it influenced by other factors, including King Charles's own desires to secure Camilla's place at his side? Regardless, the presentation of the letter has undeniably sparked a shift within the royal family. Since its unveiling, there has been a noticeable push for modernization, with the monarchy seeming to embrace change more openly. In the end, while we may debate the authenticity of the letter, it's clear that Queen Elizabeth's legacy, whether through love, duty, or pressure, continues to shape the future of the British monarchy. The power of one letter has undeniably ignited a transformation within the royal family. What do you think about the letter? Do you think the royal family will accept Harry's title after leaving his duties? We'd love to hear what you think in the comments below. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the following video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it.